Welcome to the Chaos Sector. We return to the Matrix. This is my first episode, wish me luck. You know, it's quite amazing how things can be conflated. Trickery, mind games, phrasing things a certain way. Yeah, the typical manipulative tactics used to convince one of their point of view. You know this as propaganda, right? It's also known as gaslighting. Might have to add a sound effect every time we mention that word. The debate was a soft kill for Trump, because despite the hoopla about Harris edging Trump in the debate, she never said much. Nor did she take this perceived victory and build on it by explaining what she will do for the American people in her post-debate interview, which puts the debate into its proper context, a Trump victory. But I want you guys to take a look at this screenshot and title on the newsfeed's search engine. It's from News Nation. Yeah, the same network that slandered Bryan Kohberger all throughout that case, so what do you expect? But it says, quote, Harris leads Trump by 6 points after debate, poll says, unquote. And even to the right, the Huffington Post, which is supposed to be a so-called respectable news source, is backing The Daily Show in saying Trump contradicted himself on an issue. We'll look into that one as well. But first, let's read that article by News Nation to see if the claim adds up. Well, we know it doesn't, but we like to expose the deception, quote. Post-debate polling published Tuesday by Morning Consult shows Vice President Kamala Harris leads former President Donald Trump by 6 percentage points. A new record high for the Democratic presidential nominee. Harris widened her lead over Trump in the survey conducted after they clashed at their debate last week. Trump, on the other hand, lost support. Okay, let's stop here for a moment. Now, this Morning Consult has a website, of course, and we decided to head over to the website to fact-check those numbers. Well, the problem is, you have to subscribe to access the actual breakdown. This is a screenshot of the tracker for the 2024 presidential election between both candidates. As you see, you have to create an account to simply access the information on the website. It should be free to view, since they are in the business of presenting statistics, especially for presidential elections, right? Might need to fact-check them one day, and you shouldn't have to create an account to do so. But anywho, we went around that and took another screenshot of the poll they presented. Okay, here are the numbers. All voters, they have it totaled to 51% for Harris and 45% for Trump. The interesting number is independent voters, with a 47% to 41% edge for Harris. Independents are even more focused on voting on the issues than the two major parties, as they are more loyal to the party naturally. So what does Harris propose that drives independent voters to support her? Nothing. It's been over a month since she became the Democratic candidate in her interviews before the debate, during the debate, and an interview after the debate. Harris hasn't proposed anything that has grabbed the attention of those independent voters. Vague responses copying Trump's ideas and the policies she did propose, such as child tax credits, doesn't hit at the core of the American voters' issues. What good is proposing child tax credits if simultaneously inflation will only eat away at those savings? In fact, that's the biggest issue she faces, inflation. As the saying goes, you don't ask a thief for spare change. Harris was a part of an administration that contributed to the economic crisis, and now she's proposing child tax credits? Nobody is falling for it. And then when asked how will she fix the economy, crickets. Deflected from the question, and the American people witnessed in real time that Harris has no clue about the economy and how to, quote, budget the nation's bank, so to speak. But hey, apparently Morning Consult thinks otherwise. Then you have black voters at a 78% to 18% advantage for Harris. Well, we know the Democrats will get the black vote, but why did they list only the black vote? What about the other demographics? You see, this is how they generate false statistics, because they take a small sample size of voters, and based on those statistics, they claim Harris has a lead. Here's the clever tactic used here. You have Democrats, independents, Republicans, Biden 2020 voters, Trump 2020 voters, 18 to 34 voters, and black voters. Now, excluding the black voters, obviously there are other races of voters in the other categories, right? But the reason they specified black voters is because they wanted to highlight the large lead Harris is alleged to have against Trump. I guess other groups don't deserve to be broken down statistically, according to Morning Consult. If you exclude other races in your little presidential poll, what merit do those numbers actually have? If you only list black voters and not the other groups in the country who are voting for either candidate, Could it be that that so-called lead you are presenting actually may be in favor of Trump, based on the additional groups listed? What about the Hispanic vote? What about the Mexican American vote? What about the American Indian vote? What about the Asian American vote? What about the white vote? What about all other groups of American citizens who are voting? So yeah, fake polls and then plastered in the news feed to gaslight Americans into actually voting for Harris, the majority rules strategy. Oh, if the polls has Harris up against Trump, then the majority of American voters support her. I might as well do so too. Anywho, let's continue. The data shows Harris getting support of 51% of all voters, while 45% of all voters said they backed Trump. The vice president is now up from a 3-point advantage pre-debate. Most likely voters who watched the debate, 61%, including 1 in 5 Republicans, said Harris performed best, compared with 33% who said Trump was the winner, according to Morning Consult. Okay, here's the problem. Did you notice the difference in wording in describing both candidates in the debate? For Harris, it says 61% believed she performed better, while 33% said Trump was the winner. Performed better versus the winner. Do you see the difference? Performing better does not translate to winning the debate. You see, being the winner literally means you won the debate. Harris may have performed better, but what merit does a performance actually have? If she never established an effective plan to the American people, like an economic policy, a foreign policy, a border policy, the only thing she leaned on was abortion, and literally provoking mudslinging into the debate. She lied about Charlottesville, claiming that Trump praised the white supremacists when that had been fact-checked and debunked, with Trump clearly condemning those individuals. She lied about the bloodbath comment, which had also been fact-checked and debunked. She lied about claiming Trump would sign a national abortion ban, which had been fact-checked and debunked. She lied about there not being late-term abortions, which has been fact-checked and debunked. She lied about there not being post-birth abortions, which despite the circumstances the former Virginia governor gave, there are post-birth abortions. So that's been fact-checked and debunked. She lied about Trump being the protagonist of Project 2025, which by his own words, he never promoted, supported, or endorsed that project. She lied about there being dead officers at Capitol Hill during the insurrection, which had been fact-checked and debunked. She lied about there being no men and women in the military who are in active duty in a combat zone in any war zones around the world. Of course, men and women in the military fact-checked and debunked Harris in that viral video. I mean, what type of presidential debate allows a candidate to just fling lies at their opponent like that? We all know Harris is in over her head, but at least make it look equal, right? Everyone criticized Trump, but that's because the bar is set higher for him to perform better than he did. Harris was able to podshot Trump with lies all throughout the debate. And of course the ABC moderators never fact-checked her, never challenged her, never demanded that she give her plan for the American people. And let's be honest, the claim that Harris performed better is associated with the bar being set so low for her. If that were Gretchen Whitmer debating Trump, and she had the exact same debate, she would have the obligation of presenting an actual plan. Despite her being a younger version of Kathy Bates in the film Misery, Whitmer would have been a far greater challenge, and to be honest, would cause major problems for Trump based on her experience as governor. Interesting enough, Whitmer apparently has rejected the claim that Harris holds such a lead. Whitmer was a guest speaker at Texas Tribune Festival in Austin, and well, didn't sound like Democratic gaslighting to me. Quote, Democratic Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer fiercely rejected polls giving Vice President Kamala Harris a sizable lead over former President Trump, declaring, quote, it's just not true. It makes me nervous to see any poll that says there's a 5-point lead for Kamala Harris in Michigan now. It's just not true, Whitmer said Thursday at the Texas Tribune Festival. It's going to be a very close race. I believe we can win it. And I believe we will, but it's going to be very close, Whitmer added, unquote. Now, although Whitmer is a Democrat and will back her party, there's honesty here that she displayed, contrary to the gaslighting most Democrats spew out. While the mainstream media is dumping out polls claiming Harris has a 6-point lead, Whitmer, a fellow Democrat, is stating it isn't true. And the reason she knows it isn't true, because she has access to the polls, of course. Michigan is an automotive state, and it's also a swing state. So there is a large population of independent voters, not just Democrat and Republican. Michigan as a state and its cities are considered blue-collar due to the automotive industry. Although things have changed a bit, the core of the state is generally blue-collar. Large percentage of Trump supporters, large percentage of Harris supporters, and even third-party candidates are represented well. So despite it being run by the crazy lady in Gretchen Whitmer, she knows her state and is willing to tell the truth about the polls. We've always believed that Whitmer is actually a liberal Republican. Yes, those exist. Just like conservative Democrats exist, such as former Democrat Tulsi Gabbard. But what her statements did was basically call out the mainstream media for misrepresenting the lead, which doesn't actually exist, by the way, but misrepresenting the lead Harris has over Trump. And for a Democrat, that is a huge step forward to upholding integrity when it comes to politics. Good job, Kathy Bates. Michigan football will suck this year, though. There goes a lot of revenue loss for your state. But she's an alumni of Michigan State, so you know. Go blue, by the way. Sorry, just had to throw that in there. Back to Harris. Harris, on the other hand, has been adored, given a free pass, even with her flip-flopping, shielded by the element of race and gender. So as long as she just stood there and spoke coherently, that translated to a, quote, better performance. See, they can't say she won the debate, because winning the debate consists of providing a plan to the American people, which she never did and never will. Trump has already proposed his plans. The American people know what he wants to do, so Harris was essentially debating against herself in regards to telling the American people what she will do as president. And we all know how that went. Okay, so fake news, fake polls, all gaslighting tactics. And then there's more. It is alleged that an ABC insider has evidence that the ABC debate was in fact rigged in favor of Harris. An employee for the network claimed that the reason there were no fact checks, no challenges, no demands that a policy be proposed by Harris, is because the network set it up in this way. And what it did was essentially put Trump in the hot seat, although he's not the one who is the mystery to the American people. Some believe it's a troll mocking Trump. But the thing is, it doesn't matter if they're a troll, because that's exactly what happened in the debate. I will say, though, that this individual did sign an affidavit, providing their claims of evidence the debate was rigged. And then there's more to it. There are claims that this whistleblower allegedly has died in a car crash. Now, the interesting thing is mainstream media is quickly fact-checking this claim about the individual dying in a car crash, but they weren't so quick to come out and fact-check the claims of the debate being rigged. It's funny. Let's take a look at what the so-called fact-checkers focused on instead. Of course, you have them allegedly debunking the claim that the whistleblower died in a car crash, okay? Then you have them allegedly debunking the claim that ABC lost advertising revenue after the debate. So let me get this straight. It's obvious they are aware of the claims that the debate was rigged, right? So where's the fact check about that? They can't debunk it. And the reason being is because there is an affidavit in this equation where the ABC employee is obviously aware of the criminal charges they would face, perjuring themselves in a legal document. So since it's not something they can attempt to debunk, they stay away from it. ABC released statements about it, denying the claims. But if you were to search for this, the typical fact-checkers in mainstream media are not front and center in the search results. Yeah, cat has their tongue. Even that claim was supported with evidence. You know, the whole Haitian migrants eating pets. Okay, this is my first episode. I'll let my colleagues finish up.
Good job. Now we were going to touch on The Daily Show, but they don't deserve it. Rather,
hold on, they do deserve being addressed. A recent episode has the host calling North Carolina Republican Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson a black Nazi. Now, there are reports that Mark Robinson made statements about declaring himself a Nazi in past posts on, well, apparently a porn site? Okay, now this is a recent report, yet the claims are from 2008 through 2012. Mark Robinson has been in the public spotlight for quite some time, and it's only now that this came out. Also, the report doesn't actually confirm that it is the lieutenant governor. Rather, it has an account of an individual named Mark Robinson, with, quote, a number of biographical details posted by the account that line up with Robinson's history. Now, Robinson came out and denied the allegations, claiming that it is not his words, nor his account. Now, we can't confirm that it is or not, but The Daily Show ran with it and made a claim that it was the Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson Just because CNN investigated it and claimed it was true? Here's the article by CBS News. Quote, North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, the Republican nominee for governor, posted a slew of incendiary, explicit and racist comments on a pornographic website more than a decade ago, according to a CNN investigation released Thursday that has shaken the state's gubernatorial race. Hold on, this is not journalism. CBS News starts off by claiming that this is a fact, yes, a fact, without any proof. Quote, the Republican nominee for governor posted a slew of incendiary, explicit and racist comments on a pornographic website more than a decade ago, according to a CNN investigation, unquote. You are claiming it's a fact, according to a CNN investigation, but you clearly haven't confirmed this is a fact by checking that CNN investigative team. CBS News, though, meaning the person who wrote this article, can't take the position of CNN's claims and present that claim as a fact in their article. You see, dishonest journalism. Honest journalism would make sure to include key terms such as allegedly, along with the claims according to CNN. This ensures CBS News and that author won't be spreading disinformation. But there's more, of course. Quote, the report focused on comments made by an account with the name Minisoldier on a pornographic website called Nude Africa between 2008 and 2012. The account used the name Mark Robinson in its profile, and a number of biographical details posted by the account line up with Robinson's own history, according to CNN. The network reported that Robinson appeared to use the account name on other platforms over the years, including YouTube and Pinterest, and that the email address associated with the account belonged to Robinson, unquote. Now, Mark Robinson didn't get involved in politics until around 2018, based on, quote, biographical details. So in 2008 through 2012, CNN investigators suggest that he was running around on pornographic sites spewing hate speech and calling himself a black Nazi. He's married, he has children, and of course we know he worked to provide for his family. When did he have time to sit around and do this? More so, surely his wife would have found out about this snooping around. We're not completely denying the possibility. There are sickos out there. But the CNN investigators had to be notified about this to even investigate, right? So someone close to Robinson told individuals within the political arena that Robinson is a sicko, and they proceeded to investigate. But the claims are worded vaguely, such as, quote, appeared to be, and according to. Appeared to be posting comments on a pornographic website is not confirmed. According to a CNN investigator, is just more speculation, because they never provided actual proof of this claim, biographical details. So at the time of those alleged comments, this would be from 2008 to 2012. Mark Robinson is currently 56 years old, which would make him between the age of 40 and 44 years old at the time of those alleged posts. A 40-year-old man married with a family who wasn't a politician at the time. It was only until 2021 when he actually served as lieutenant governor. Somehow has the time to run around on pornographic websites. Possible, but not probable. So back in 2008 through 2012, we can suggest he was a regular citizen with a family, which by the biographical details he was. And even Wikipedia got in on the allegations, of course claiming those allegations are a fact. Quote, Mark Robinson is an American neo-Nazi politician serving as the 35th Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina. Wow, this is insane, but it's becoming normal now. Let's really grasp what is being stated here. Mark Robinson, a black man, is, quote, an American neo-Nazi politician serving as the 35th Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, unquote. So, would they suggest that his supporters, which would include black people, are also neo-Nazis? Oh, they never knew about these views Robinson had? Not so fast. Whoever leaked the information was close to Robinson, right? And then you factor in that during this time frame, Robinson wasn't a public figure. So who had that access to the information then, to use it against him now that he is a public figure? Who is the person who leaked it? Who is the CNN investigator who obtained that information from the leaker? Fake news, all manufactured. This is just bonkers. But I see the plot here. It's the same thing old Joe stated about the black community, talking to Charlemagne the dog. If you vote Republican, you're not black. And what the left has been doing is labeling all black people, including politicians, who vote and support Republicans as sellouts. They're in a fixed state of damage control. This is an example of the proverbial echo chamber. CNN makes the allegation. It makes its round in the mainstream media, makes national headlines. You have The Daily Show spewing it out, and Wikipedia is literally listing this as a fact, a part of Robinson's bio. It hasn't been confirmed, nothing has been officially documented proving it, and yet the left is vomiting it out. Just more gaslighting. What happened to fact-checking? Here's why we don't believe it's Robinson instinctively. Mark Robinson is running for governor of North Carolina. Currently, he is the lieutenant governor, which is like an assistant. If elected governor, Robinson would become the first black governor of North Carolina. A black man as governor. Don't see that often now, do you? Also, Trump endorsed Robinson, who is a black man. So the mainstream media will obviously attack his character, such as slandering his image with fake news about being a, quote, black Nazi. And then you factor in that the residents of North Carolina, including black people, would support a man who is a black Nazi. It's pathetic, unprofessional, immoral, and shows how low Democrats will go, attempting to hide the truth of Trump, gaining more support from the black community. Democrats are infuriated that this has happened, and they're carrying out kamikaze attacks to stop Trump from being re-elected.
Now that's honest journalism and reporting. Great job. Which segues me to more clever tactics by the left. I've noticed there have been many videos about Anna Kasparian, quote, exposing the left and such. There are claims that she has had enough in how she has, quote, jumped ship on the Democrats. In a video, Anna states, quote, I don't know what to label myself anymore, unquote. Now we see through this, just another leftist trying to stir up some of that good old cooking, that being distractions. Yet, if she doesn't know what to call herself anymore, does this mean she's not a progressive? Well, progressive is just a fancy word for a far-left liberal. Put it this way, it's just a modern term, used to sway the young voting base. It sounds genuine to some, but the term in a political sense is very destructive. So Anna has denounced this progressive stance. Nope, she realizes that it's about to all come crashing down, and to save her career, she will attempt to tiptoe to the center. You have to remember, you align with a political party based on their policies and ideals. Anna has been blabbering about progressive ideals on the Young Turks for damn near 20 years. You can say with age comes wisdom, but this is not an 18-year-old liberal who matured and is now 38 years old and has denounced being a liberal. Negative, this is someone who has had a political career, pushing the ideals of progressives, or far-left liberals, right alongside her co-host, Cenk Yogurt. Yes, I said yogurt. The money was coming in, you were pushing the agenda, and now that the agenda is not as effective as it was before, especially with the younger generation, oh, now Anna is jumping ship. Anna is simply gaslighting in the political matrix, trying to appeal to a less radical audience. That radical progressive rhetoric that the Young Turks spewed for decades brought in millions of viewers. But now, many people don't find them as influential anymore. And we can suggest that this is due to progressives not having any substance in their ideology. Keep in mind, they are in fact socialists. They didn't support Hillary Clinton, but of course they wouldn't vote for Trump, so they backed Hillary Clinton. But they really endorsed Bernie Sanders, an old radical socialist who couldn't sell a bottle of water to someone in the desert for crying out loud. Because the progressives' policies are all an illusion. In other words, people will stop listening to you if all you're doing is ranting about Trump and Republicans. Years of anti-Trump rhetoric from social justice warriors hasn't helped the average American citizen. And the Young Turks were a contributing factor in that SJW movement, corrupting society by way of political mudslinging and rhetoric, while they enjoy the finer things in life. But viewership drops, ratings drop, money dries up. Okay, it's time to jump ship on everything, even blasting her own political party. Yeah, nice try. They're all corrupt, deceptive, backstabbers, disloyal, and can't be trusted whatsoever. I wouldn't be surprised if she shifted to the center and announced she is now an independent. Yeah, push the agenda of the far left, damage the minds of young people, and then run off into the shadows after the money has dried up for the network. The Young Turks were popular in the early 2000s, but it's been a gradual decline ever since, and we can suggest that that decline occurred when Alex Jones raided their set. In fact, we can suggest that the Young Turks copied InfoWars. You had InfoWars being launched in 1999, and the Young Turks launched in 2005. You had Alex Jones as the rambling lunatic on the right, and Cenk Yogurt as the rambling lunatic on the left. Then you had the quote, eye candy on both networks. Alex Jones had Leanne McAdoo, and Cenk Yogurt had Anna Kasparian. The Young Turks was created to counter info wars, because despite Alex Jones being a disinfo agent, as all disinfo agents, they do provide the people with truth. The left has weaponized social media to be enforcers of censorship, and as a result, Alex Jones has been canceled. His show has been taken off of most major social media platforms. The impact of that truth is unpredictable in how it's possessed by the people. Some awaken and are, quote, red-pilled, which changes how they view politics in particular. It's the same dynamic with Donald Trump. He is a disinfo agent in a sense. He is a puppet as well. But the truth is what he presents, and it's up to the people and how they absorb it. But don't fall asleep. InfoWars and the Young Turks are the opposition, pretending to be the opposition of each other to the masses. Yes, that's the political matrix, my friends. Hopefully you're unplugged. Let me explain this briefly about disinfo agents. When you have someone such as Alex Jones, you don't follow or support such a person. You extract the information from them and essentially use it against them, although they provided you with information you may have not known about. They are the opposition. It's up to you in how you handle truth, regardless of who it's coming from. But I want to end on this note because we strayed away from the main focus of this episode. We called it early on, this will be a rigged election, no matter what the outcome will be. Heck, it's already been a rigged election cycle, with Democrats disregarding the, quote, democratic process of selecting their presidential candidate. So the mainstream media is attempting damage control on so many issues coming all at once. I guess they're getting a run for their money now. You have Harris being a horrible presidential candidate, which they're attempting damage control for. You have Haitian migrants grocery shopping in neighbors' backyards for pets. They're trying, can't keep that under the rug. You have another attempted assassination on Trump, which clearly proves was politically motivated, and specifically an attempt on Trump, trying damage control on that. And then you have the whistleblower at ABC exposing the presidential debate was rigged in Kamala Harris's favor. They can't keep up. There's too much coming at them at once. But here's the crazy part about it. This is all they're doing, you see. Hard to stop the avalanche of truth being revealed when you shook the mountain with lies. Let's conclude with my final thoughts. All of this gaslighting and damage control only proves the American people have already chosen the next president. ABC knew Harris had no chance, it was obvious. And to put that into perspective a bit more, if Harris is leading in the polls as mainstream media suggests, shouldn't Harris be the one saying she doesn't want another debate? It was Trump who said it, and it wasn't due to ABC's rigged debate. He felt he relayed his message to the people, exposed Harris and her current failures as vice president. What else does he need to do? He destroyed Old Joe, with a bit of help from Old Joe, of course. And then the next presidential debate, based on policy and not rhetoric, he beat Harris as well. So if anyone is keeping track, Trump beat the president and vice president of the United States in presidential debates. No need for another debate. Let the people make their choice. Harris, on the other hand, naturally doesn't feel confident because, well, she's not even the real Democratic nominee for one. But more damaging is Harris does not, I repeat, does not have remotely anything she can bring to the table. And trust me, she knows the American people know she doesn't have anything to bring to the table. That's why she wants another debate to so-called prove herself. Well, you're the vice president of the United States. You've been that for almost 4 years. If you have to prove yourself while currently being the vice president. Harris has often stated, I'm not Joe Biden, or obviously I'm not Joe Biden. Well, this is indicating that you have a different view and different ideals, different policies, contrary to Old Joe, right? Well, to this point, she hasn't established a contrarian position. Opportunity economy means exactly what? That is her economic policy yet. She hasn't explained what exactly this entails. The American people want to know, what opportunities will a Harris-Walz administration create for them economically? On her updated website, she has her plan, right? Build an opportunity economy and lower costs for families. Okay, sounds good. But what are the details of this plan? And if you look right below that, Vice President Harris grew up in a middle-class home as the daughter of a working mom. That's not a plan. That's a background of the candidate, which was already established when she, never mind. Let's scroll down. Okay, let's see here. Oh look, Harris will cut taxes for the middle-class families. Wait, what about the lower-class families? Shouldn't their taxes be cut as well? You know, on a side note, both political parties disregard the lower class. If you're cutting taxes on the middle class, then you're raising taxes on the upper class. These are business owners who employ millions of American workers. What happens here? You have reduced hours, which affects monthly income, and you also have smaller staff in some businesses, which raises the unemployment rate. But raising taxes on the wealthy also includes the same Hollywood celebrities. Not sure if they're noble enough to pay more taxes. They love Trump's tax cuts. I bet Taylor Swift will think twice about supporting a Harris-Walz administration when she looks at how high her taxes would be. Although there are always complexities with taxing the citizens, I give her some credit for addressing something. Then, make rent more affordable and home ownership more attainable. Okay, now she's venturing into socialism. Guess she couldn't hide it, right? You have the housing market, and federal government, state, and local government housing programs. Now we're just going to assume Harris is not talking about government housing. She is literally talking about the housing market, which are businesses. Is Harris suggesting that she will force the housing market to lower rates on homes? That's not your property, Miss Harris. Might want to slow down a bit. Disaster. Then you have small business growth. And investing in entrepreneurship, okay, sounds good. But since Harris is economically illiterate, hey, that's just the facts. The only thing that will come about from this is debt. Let small businesses thrive the way they know how, no loans, no handouts, because it will only lead to bankruptcy in a Harris-Walz administration. It's that simple. How will you grow a small business? How will you invest in entrepreneurship? You're the federal government, so that means giving federal loans to those small businesses. But even still, she will only raise inflation, so once again, bankruptcy and debt for those small businesses. Then you have Harris proposing to, quote, take on bad actors and bring down costs. Again, how are you going to bring down costs without enforcing some sort of socialist, no communist, law that would result in lawsuits all over the place? And even businesses leaving the United States. Disaster. Then you have Harris proposing to strengthen and bring down the cost of healthcare. Okay, now wait. Bringing down the cost of healthcare, protect, and strengthen Social Security and Medicare is something this administration could have already done. But, they decided to allocate $391 billion to climate change instead of slicing that down to a more reasonable number, about $150 billion. Allocate the remaining $240 billion to healthcare. Simple, but lo and behold, this administration, which included Kamala Harris, who signed off on the Inflation Reduction Act, spent more on climate change than the American citizens. $80 billion for hiring new IRS employees, yet only $40 billion for Medicare Part D. Shows you where their priorities are. More money invested in hiring IRS employees, which have always been a thorn in the side of the American citizens. So this administration wanted to sharpen those thorns by hiring more IRS employees to harass and threaten the American citizens. Think about it, if you don't file your taxes, you may face a penalty. Now, how and why are you facing a penalty for not filing your taxes, you ask? Because the IRS wants to steal more money from you at the end of the year, on top of the money they already stole from you throughout the year. Sure, you can get a tax refund back, but then some years you owe taxes. What taxes do you owe, you ask? Nothing. They literally steal your money throughout the year, presenting it as a tax refund at the end of the year, only to tell you that you owe taxes for that same year. But hey, let's hire more of these criminals to increase the size of the criminal enterprise. Never mind helping the lower class patients, so they can receive quality healthcare services. We'll give the IRS $80 billion and only $40 billion for Medicare Part D. As we pointed out in a prior episode, slice $40 billion from that $80 billion and add that to the $40 billion for Medicare Part D. Simple. More effective, better quality, larger range of patients covered in the lower class. And you can actually hang your hat up for that. But no, we want bigger government. So yeah, they swish money around to avoid actually helping the American people. Listen, if you're going to spend it on the country and the citizens of the country. Everything else down the list is word salads and misdirections. Supporting American innovation and workers, a nothing burger. Provide a pathway to the middle class through quality, affordable education, translates to equity, another nothing burger. Invest in affordable child care and long-term care, redundant, that is already in place, another nothing burger. And lower energy costs and tackle the climax crisis. Didn't you just invest $391 billion and projected to spend almost $1 trillion on this issue, which was in the Inflation Reduction Act? What did that $391 billion investment do to tackle the climax crisis? That's the biggest nothing burger. Now the major problem with her plan, which is saying a lot, is centered around crime. It says Harris will propose to make communities safer from gun violence and crime. So I'm assuming this includes all of the gang members who are terrorizing the communities, such as in Chicago and other Democrat-run cities, where there is high rates of gun violence and crime, right? Well, the last time I checked, you had a chance to do that as vice president in 3 years. This proposal is to make it appear Harris will be tough on crime. She won't. And of course, Harris proposes to secure the borders and fix the broken immigration system. Is this a joke? It has to be a joke, because Harris can't be serious here. You were, and still currently, the borders are. You didn't secure the borders in almost 4 years. So why would you propose it now? Complete insanity. Why isn't she being challenged on these issues? Then it says she will tackle the opioid and fentanyl crisis. Again, how can you that's enough. No wonder ABC rigged the debate, because if they challenged her on these policies, Harris would be stumped and speechless, just like old Joe in the prior debate. If she's not qualified, then she's not qualified. You can't force her to be. Won't be tough at the border, because Harris and her vice president in Walz support illegal immigration. If you recall, Walz stated, quote, paraphrasing, "If Trump builds the wall, then I'll go into the latter business, promoting illegal immigration." Wacko. She won't fix the housing crisis, because it was this administration that gave government housing to illegal immigrants, as American citizens struggle financially, and even facing evictions. Haven't heard of migrants being evicted now, have you? Of course not. Harris won't do anything different than any other administration in regards to education, because that is a personal decision when it comes to college and taking on tuition. And it's not about K through 12, because that falls more on local and state government funding. The only thing Harris will definitely do is raise inflation to even higher levels than before, increase the cost of living, including prices which she claims she will lower, increase debt for many college students, increase debt for homeowners, shrink small businesses, and due to all of this, the crime rate will skyrocket. Illegal immigration will be unfathomable under that administration. And then if that's not scary enough, foreign adversaries will be watching her like a hawk, waiting for an opportunity to pounce on the United States. This, of course, is due to her lack of experience in foreign policy. If she doesn't care about the United States, then foreign adversaries will just break the door completely down, since she had it open anyway. So this is not even a case of wolves in sheep clothing. The wolf is smack dab in your face. If you were proposing $25,000 in federal funding for first-time homebuyers, guess who has to pick up the tab on that? That's right, the taxpayer. And what the hell do you expect will happen in the housing market? So you are punching holes in your sailboat, Ms. Harris. This is an example of when a DEI hire goes wrong. In a way, I feel sorry for Kamala Harris, because although an opportunist, it appears she has been sacrificed just like old Joe was. The more things change, the more they stay the same, I guess. So instead of a new way forward as her slogan, it's actually a new way backwards. Has a funky ring to it. This is the Chaos Sector.